Hey friends, this is Dolynny TV. Glad to have you aboard this afternoon as we get set up for what is becoming the recurring theme of this NHL trade deadline time for the Edmonton Oilers. One man, similar to last year, this time a teammate of Erik Karlsson on the Pittsburgh Penguins this time out, right? Last year it was all about Erik Karlsson. This year it is all about Jake Guentzel when it comes to the NHL trade deadline for the Edmonton Oilers. And let's giddy up. We finally have a trade price here at last of what it is going to cost the Edmonton Oilers, or at least what the expectation currently, right? I think it was Elliot Friedman and Jeff Merrick on the 32 Thoughts podcast who let that be known, but it was also them who talked about what is true today is not necessarily true tomorrow in the hockey realm. So keep that in mind. Today's trade price as of February 12th, 2024 for Jake Guentzel is as follows in this video. Stay tuned. But I want to say thank you for being aboard for the ride right now. Appreciate you tuning in. And of course, if you haven't already, friends, leave a like on the video. Let's get up there. Let's see what we can do about this excitement around this one key piece, right? It was Mac T on Mac T Mondays with Bob Stauffer this evening saying the Oilers pretty much need to add another top six forward. And I think all of us understand at this point, if we're going to add another top six forward, unless you find a Matthias Ekholm guy, it is going to be none other than one Jake Guentzel. That's the way this is working, right? It was similar idea to Erik Karlsson last year. So what's it going to cost the Oilers, Tyson? Just tell me already. Well, it's going to cost the Oilers, according to Elliot Friedman and Jeff Merrick on the 32 Thoughts podcast, which you can listen to on sportsnet.ca. You got to do a little search, and there's been a lot of hockey content today. But you go over there, find that. It's, where is it about in the podcast? It is about at the 43 minute mark of the podcast, 32 Thoughts. First round pick. I know it's mentioned a Claude Giroux deal. That was, I believe, a third round pick. Top prospect, right? So break it down this way. For the Edmonton Oilers, when it comes down to it, it's going to cost them, and I think we have a pretty simple package. First rounder, whatever mid-round pick we have, and Philip Broberg, right? That's how it's going to break down. How Ken Holland decides to divvy up the mid-round pick with one Kyle Dubas, I'll leave that to your imagination, right? Do the Oilers find some way to divvy up that mid-round pick for some extra attention and maybe they go two routes? I don't know. Again, I'm not going to sit here and claim to understand what Ken Holland, Jeff Jackson are thinking fully ahead of the deadline when last year we watched Ken Holland pull off the Matthias Ekholm deal. Right? It is all fool's play, but I will tell you enough that we did get the expectation at current from Kyle Dubas today, that being a first-round pick, mid-round pick, and top prospect from the team that acquires Jake Guentzel via kind of the similar framework of the Claude Giroux deal that landed him in Florida. So stay tuned. Obviously, I guess we wait to see what this trade package ends up being for the Oilers, depending on whoever they pick up to either shore up the top six forward role. Because again, yeah, I think you go back to what Mac T was saying on Mac T Mondays today with Bob Stauffer. This is really great that I kind of caught that conversation on the way home to tee up this video in conjunction with the trade price for Jake Guentzel. Is you look at it, is Corey Perry's currently, I think all of us Oilers fans who understand what Chris Knobloch's doing, who understand kind of what the situation with the lineup is currently, Sam Gagner slots back into the bottom six role. Good, we get that. He has given you much more than Derek Ryan, Matthias Janmark, or Connor Brown. And we are at the point this season where there have to be consequences for underperformance. Mac T was talking about, cool, Connor's always going to step up. Leon will step up when called upon. You've got some other guys that can, but who's going to do it? And Matthias Janmark is the guy that Mac T labeled, quite simply put, as not being able to do it. So Sam Gagner, in limited minutes, I think playing less than 10 minutes a night, somewhere around there, has been able to produce half a point per game pretty much this season. That is some remarkable results for a guy where I'm sure many of you listening back home right now labeled him as a guy that could not even crack an NHL lineup this year, let alone perform in the points department. So that's good news. We got a guy who's sitting that can physically and also point-wise bring some kind of presence to the Oilers' bottom six that always seems to vanish for a good majority of the season. So now you all of a sudden look at Corey Perry's situation and how he was signed and what he was signed for this team. He's place-holding on the second line as a kind of force to be reckoned with, as Corey Perry has always been in his career. You slot in Jake Guentzel there. You bring Corey Perry down into the bottom six. You probably lose somebody on this team for cap reasons. And at very best, if you're going to acquire two players to fit into the roster, it's going to cost you a forward, whether it be Warren Foegele or whoever else. It's going to cost you someone. So at very worst, you end up getting rid of somebody in that bottom six to bring down Corey Perry. And at very worst, somebody in that bottom six, not named Gagne, is losing their job down this stretch drive, right? That's how this all plays out. So when you look at this here, is the trade price for Jake Guentzel ends up becoming very, very reasonable, right? If you're talking about a way to slot this roster for maximum impact, Jake Guentzel is going to give you that career basis. So first round pick, we all knew, friends. We were getting rid of that even before the season started. Don't tell me the value of the 32nd overall pick when we very well could just sit here and not have it. Because I'd take a Stanley Cup over having pick number 32 every single year. Mid-round pick. Guys, you gotta tell me here, the Oilers have not had much success in my entire time as a fan graduating mid-round picks to the NHL as a sizable force in the NHL. So stay tuned with that. Maybe some guys we got in the pipeline right now do that, but at current, that really doesn't seem to be panning out. And top prospect, by the way, we've just got Philip Broberg lighting up the AHL and being one of the best defensemen in that league, and he is yet to see sizable NHL time at any point in his career, because obviously we have 6 defenders who were capable of making Stuart Skinner look impeccable, making Calvin Pickard an NHL backup again, and of course allowing less than 2 goals for 14 games straight during a 16-game win streak. So again, Philip Broberg, you're in tough. As long as we keep the D pairs together, we've got a team that's going to perform on the back end. So you look at that all, you sit here, you say this, and you think about it, and you know what? This trade package for Jake Guentzel, not too bad. The only real implication is A, cap, and B, of course, 2, how it all plays out roster-wise. But you've got somebody who knows the Oilers inside out like Mac T saying, yeah, we need somebody in that top 6. Well, there you go. Hence, I don't see a problem with trading away 2 picks and Philip Broberg for Jake Guentzel and possibly our best shot at a cup since 1990. Because, again, you can talk about 06 and the magical run it was. Nobody was giving the Oilers a shot to win the Stanley Cup, even April 1st that year. So, again, we'll just talk about our best shot since 1990 and see what happens here, friends. I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. Thanks so much for being aboard this afternoon. Appreciate you hanging out with me. I guess I didn't ask, so maybe I should. If you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. Wouldn't mind having you around for when that Jake Guentzel trade happens, if it happens again. Like I said, we talked all about Karlsson. We've talked all about Guentzel this year, and Karlsson didn't pan out, so I full well expect Guentzel not to pan out. But again, I'd be amiss if I didn't talk about the news of the day, that being Jake Guentzel's trade price being revealed. I am up on out of here. Have a great night, friends. We'll talk later.